Hello. So today we are going to be doing a get to know us segment, myself and Nityda. So I'm going to get her online. Hey y'all, good morning. Okay. Nityda, do you want me to send it to your personal or because I sent it to the trauma conscious one? So we will be diving into getting to know who it is that we are. Let's see. Let me know if you got the notification, Nityda. Good morning. Hey, Katrina. You need a new invite? Okay. Let me go ahead and send it again. Hey, Brittany. I'm going to send. Okay, it's saying that you must upgrade your app in order to join. So I'm going to send it to the Nityda one. Okay. I sent it to Nityda Gessel Instagram because it's saying that it won't connect and for some upgrade something. Let me know if you got that. Good morning, CB. Good morning, Laura. So, Nityda and myself will be talking about our full moon healing circle that we have every month on the full moon. This one will be occurring at the full moon in Scorpio on Monday, and that will be at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So, just to kind of get into a little bit of it while we wait on Nityda to join, we talk about the moon and the aspects of the different aspects that are happening with the moon every month. And then Nityda, she is a trauma-informed yoga teacher, and she is phenomenal. So she knows how to do all kinds of things, like the somatic therapy side of everything. And she's also a therapist as well. So she ties in these different modalities and help us to release things through our bodies. And so it's really good. We've gotten some really great feedback. Every month has been a really wonderful turnout. So, hey, Vanessa. So, it's been a really wonderful turnout every month. And, we're excited about this one. So, okay, I see you. I got you. So, we're excited about this one. And we're excited about all of them. So, yeah. But this one is like a Scorpio full moon. So Scorpio is like the regeneration, the rebirth. It's also about retribution, righting what is wrong. It's the sign of karma. So we're having a Scorpio full moon, and full moons are illuminating things, and it's bringing things up from the shadows. And okay, I see you. Nityda's joining us now, y'all. So that's just kind of giving you a little astrological background. So I tie in the astrology to what she brings and what she offers. There she goes with her beautiful face.
Hi, sorry about that. I needed to update. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, cool. Hi,
you see,
everyone.
I have my astrology.
I love that. You're so fancy.
Girl, you know.
You're so fancy.
Yeah, so I was just giving them a little overview of like how we tie in the astrology to the yoga and the
Cool.
healing circle aspect of it. So that's just kind of like where I left off.
Okay.
And yeah, so if you want to go ahead and pick up, and this segment is just going to be getting everyone to like know who it is that we are and why we offer what we offer and why we do what we do.
Sure. Thanks, Jazz.
No problem.
Oh, hold on. All the technical stuff this morning. Well, I want to say again, thank you everyone for joining. We'll be up here for about 30 minutes. Before we jump into what we have planned, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that it's been a very heavy week. It's just been a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm joining in all transparency with a heavy heart, just you know, digesting and processing and metabolizing everything that's been happening, and the continued taking of Black lives. So if you are feeling like you're not okay, I want you to know that I see you and I feel you and I'm with you, and it's okay to not be okay. And we can have space for that. And I also want to invite you to, if you can, take time
Mm-hmm.
to do whatever you need to do that helps you to heal, whether that be talk to someone, move your body, breathe, go for a run, journal. It's really important right now because there is a lot. There's a
Yes.
lot coming up. So with that being said, I just want to offer that we take a moment to take a breath together, and then we'll get into our Q&A. All
Yes.
right, so closing the eyes only if it feels right. I just want to offer that we take a nice long breath in, filling up the abdomen and the heart. And if you'd like, just paying respects to the lives that have been lost and the families that have survived the losses, and our community, our collective that is holding a lot. And as you exhale, you could flutter your lips or exhale through the mouth. Exhale in a way that helps you to get rid of some tension. Right? Whatever you need to do. And we'll just take a couple more deep breaths, and I invite you to offer yourself some words of love and compassion right now. So let's take one more collective inhale. Moving the body in any way you need to, and allowing that exhalation to release in any way that serves you. Okay, thanks for doing that. You can come back to your room when you're ready. Come back to the mobile device or whatever device you're on. Okay, so we'll get into it.
Yes. Thank you for getting us grounded. That was beautiful. Much
Yeah,
needed. You don't know what you need until it comes and gives it to you, right? So I didn't know
yeah,
I needed that in that moment. So thank you.
yeah, yeah. Good. You're welcome. We're here to help uplift one another,
Yeah.
right? And that's really what these full moon circles are about. It's a chance for us to gather in community. You're welcome. Even though it's virtual, it's still community, and we have to take
Mhm.
community any way we can take it nowadays, especially right
Right.
now. But for today, we wanted to do something fun and just talk a little bit about ourselves as the two women who are co-facilitating these full moon circles. So
Yeah.
I wanted to, invite you, Jazz, to share a bit around how you got into astrology.
Okay. So I got into astrology as deep as I am now, probably about 5, maybe even close to 6 years ago now. It was during my Saturn return. I know that's
Mm,
become like a term that's getting a little bit of recognition nowadays, but it's a Saturn return, and that's when Saturn returns to the very spot that it was in the sign and the degree sign as well, that it was when you were born. So it comes through and it provides you all these lessons and all this work that you have to do in order to get to that next phase. So it's kind of like what it feels like and what it looks like on the outside is that your life is uh, just being completely destroyed. Like you're going
mm,
through so much, right? So during that time, I went through a divorce. I went
mm,
through being homeless with my 2 children. It was a lot. And
yeah.
I didn't recognize during that time why I was going through all of these things. And I have Saturn in Scorpio along with Pluto in Scorpio. So it was a lot of
Mm,
death and rebirth, a lot of transformation, a lot of me having to face my fears and all
mm-hmm.
of these things. And so it wasn't until shortly after that, when things started to settle down, that I got into it and got into astrology and um, realized like, oh, this is a Saturn return. This was happening not to me, but this was happening for me, because what's on
Mm-hmm.
the other side of this is something so beautiful, as long as I stay focused and I stay determined and disciplined, all those Saturn qualities, right? In order to get to that other side, I can actually experience it in the way that I want to experience it, right? Which is with pleasure. So we're always going to get to where we're supposed to go. It's just a matter of how are we going to experience it, experience the journey. How do we want to experience that journey before we get to that destination, so to speak. So that's how I really got into it. My life went straight to hell. That's how.
It was time. It was the time the universe presented you. But it's interesting. So you say 5 or 6 years ago, it was your Saturn return. But how did
Mhm.
you even have the language of astrology to know that was something you could turn to? Like, when was astrology first introduced to you?
Astrology was introduced to me when I was younger by my mom. And
Hmm.
so it was just kind of like the seed was planted when I was a child. And then once the life that was happening at that time, that is what watered that seed. So it started growing. And I just kind of like got into it just because I started diving into spirituality and trying to find, how am I going to get my own connection with God? What does that look like for
Mm-hmm.
me? And so these different things, astrology, divination, these things were just coming at me, and I started exploring these things. And as I got deeper into it, it was like, oh, this really does resonate deeply with me. So that's kind of how
Yeah.
it just blossomed, and now here we are.
Here we are. Oh my goodness. And so your mom, she wasn't an astrologist herself, right? But she was into getting her chart read and stuff like
Hmm.
that.
Yes, my mom,
Okay.
she's big in divination, and it's like part of our heritage,
Mm,
and our background
great.
was into all the divination practices and tarot and
Hmm.
the candles and the paying your ancestors,
Hmm.
honoring your ancestors and all of those things. So it's kind of like what I turned away from, because society was demonizing that. So I turned
Right.
away from it and was like, my mom's strange, but
Right.
she's not as strange as I thought she was.
Look, don't we all turn some of y'all don't want to hear this. Don't we all turn into our moms anyway? No, not exactly. We are, we're here to break some of the intergenerational, barriers that we've
Right,
inherited. But it sounds like you did inherit something really beautiful that you rebelled against at first and
right.
then allowed yourself to be open to receiving. And now look what it's blossomed into. So that
Yes.
intergenerational wisdom has been transmuted, and
Hmm.
that's so lovely.
Yes.
Um, and I'm so glad that you found this healing path. I know you, I know a lot more about you than probably what we're going to get into today, but you're somebody who is a survivor and you've really made it through a lot of challenging waters. But what I know about you is like you just continue to persevere. You always, it's kind of innate in you that you see a lesson or a gift in everything. And I'm not saying everybody needs to be like that, but I think that is such a strength in you is that I love what you said. It was like, this isn't happening to me, this is happening for me.
Hmm.
And I think when you have that natural, quality, a tendency to see life that way, it just opens up things for you. So,
Yes. Thank
so
you.
I love it. Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
so, yeah, how did you then, from exploring astrology, from, learning that it was incredibly healing for you in your personal life, how did you then go on to open House of Chiron?
Oh, wow. Okay, so I got into another crazy, wild situation because, of course, we're still learning, right, about ourselves. And so I wasn't quite
Always.
there yet, right? Do we
Right.
ever really get there, wherever that is?
Right.
Um, so I got into another crazy situation and I needed an outlet. And I
Mm.
was practicing all these things just kind of like in private, but I was also very ashamed of what it
Mm.
was that I was believing and adapting to and really falling in love with. So I just kind of kept it hidden that I was getting into divination and I was doing
Mm.
astrology, and it was, these were my beliefs and these were my things that I was really
Right.
feeling connected to. So I created this page. It was not House of Chiron at first. It was like a copy of my original page, my personal page. I just kind of like changed the name just a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
I would just share things on here, share what I was doing, and it was more so like um, I guess kind of like a timeline of what it was that I was doing, just a little reminder to show my own growth and just to kind of share things. And then I was speaking with my friend Chanel one night, and I was like, if this helped me to get beyond all these tough things, it has to be able to help somebody else, even if it's just one person.
Right.
So that night, literally talking on the phone with her, House of Chiron was born. We came up with the name and everything, and it
Oh,
was just like,
wow.
okay, House of Chiron was born. Now, I had no idea that I was going to be doing readings for everyone, because I not
Right.
only do I do readings, but I also do conjure work. But that's something I like to keep sacred for myself. I do conjure
Mm.
work and I do all these different things. So I was just kind of like sharing that, but I had no idea I was going to be this astrologer providing
Yeah.
insight and self awareness to the masses.
Right. Oh
Oh,
my
thank you,
goodness.
Rocky.
Oh. And that's the beauty. Like you can't know the destination, right? I think so many
Right.
times we want to control our journey or, it's good to have goals, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and things, but like just keeping it open that you just don't know what beautiful, happening or experience is waiting for you
Mm-hmm.
along your path. So
Yeah.
I love that. And so Chanel and you came up with the name together, but
Mm-hmm.
tell us a bit, because I know we've talked about it, but share with us, the meaning behind Chiron and why.
Mm-hmm.
Why House of Chiron?
Okay, so there are houses in astrology. So it has two meanings, right? The house part. It's the houses in astrology. You have every house is 1 through 12. That represents also the houses for the signs. So that's one meaning of it. And then also the house is where you go for refuge. The house is where you go when you need to be safe. That's your sacred place, your safe place. So it was a combination of the two together. And then Chiron is an asteroid in astrology that represents our deepest wounds. So in Greek mythology, Chiron, he was a centaur, and he was different from his family. He wasn't mean and angry. He was a healer. And the only way he could heal himself was through taking on the pains and the wounds of others. So he can only heal himself by helping others heal. And so that's my motto. Like, I heal by helping you all. Like, we are helping each other.
Mm-hmm.
We are all
Right.
connected in a way. However it is, we're all connected. And that's what makes us also very similar and also very different at the same time, is that we're all connected. We all have things that we need to work through, we need to heal. So if my journey is an example to help you get through yours, then hey, that's what it is. So it's like, I am literally, that's a great description, such a powerful name. Thank you
It's the
so
name
much.
of
Thank you so much. So thank you. So it's like the House of Chiron, this is where you come when you need some self-awareness, when you need that truth about your patterns, because it's all in astrology, is your patterns. This is where you come when you need a safe space. Um, this is where you come to identify your wounds, and your wounds are not something that is hindering you or
Mm-hmm.
something that is going to like just keep you at this low point. Your wounds are actually your greatest power. So you take these things and you use it to not only find that power that's already in you, but also to give an example to someone that you can do it too. If I can do it, I'm just like you.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness. I love that. So I knew some of that, but not all of that. I didn't know that it came from this actual story of this man named Chiron.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. I love the history behind it.
Yeah.
And, I love again just how you are so focused on healing and seeing everything as like this opportunity for expansion
Yes.
and for allowing new wisdom to be revealed. about ourselves. And what you're speaking to, around the interconnectedness of us all, that is yoga. That is what
Mm-hmm.
yoga is. Yoga means to yoke or to unite. It is about union. The movement and the asanas and all the things we do are just a way for us to get more centered so that we can show up for
Mm-hmm.
ourselves and others in a more unified, whole, and integrated place. So
Yes.
I feel like you live and you breathe yoga even without that actually being like your business. Like it's just so related, because
Mm.
it's so healing focused.
Yes. Thank you. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of yoga, let's talk about how you got into trauma conscious yoga.
Sure. Yeah, so it's definitely been a journey. I say that we're all trauma survivors, because trauma looks so many different ways. So, I grew up, there were some things, and I'll just give a trigger warning. I'm not going to go into detail at all about anything, but I will reference some of my own trauma just a little bit. So, growing up in a household where there were some things happening that created some wounding within me and some dysregulation within my own nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I didn't know these things were trauma. I didn't know what trauma was when I was a child, but I knew that dancing helped me feel better. So I actually started dancing, with consistency when I was 8 and loved it. And it was the way that I coped. Dancing allowed me to be free and feel liberated. I had no idea at that time that what I was doing was literally metabolizing trauma from my body by moving it through.
Mm-hmm.
But, dancing was everything for me for a long time. And then I actually went on to dance professionally, semi-professional, and professionally for a little bit in my early 20s, and just became very disenchanted by the whole professional ballet world and developed an eating disorder, which, now as a trauma specialist, I understand fully that any addictive behaviors like that are a symptom of
Mm-hmm.
unresolved trauma behavior we go to try to control or regulate ourselves in some way. So, anyways, I got to a point when I was on my 21st birthday. I turned 21 and I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep doing this to my body. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I need to leave the dance world because I don't know how to separate the two. The harmful behavior and ballet had become so integrated that I just felt like I needed to leave the ballet world in order to heal. Um, Now, I had grown up in a household where my father is a Raja yogi. So Raja yogis don't necessarily practice asana or the physical practice of yoga, but they study the Yoga Sutras and meditate and chant. So I grew up with a dad who was always chanting and meditating, and I was always so fascinated by what he was doing, but neither one of my parents ever explained to us their spiritual practices. They let us find their own way, or
Mm-hmm.
our own way. So I was always interested in what he was doing, but never really got into meditation myself. So when I left dance, I didn't know I was in trauma recovery still. At this point, I'm 21, had no idea. But um, but I knew I had a lot of anxiety, and so I
Mm-hmm.
just thought it was anxiety. So I was like, I want to start yoga to help me deal with my anxiety. I had no interest in the asana or the physical yoga practice because I was like, I'm already flexible. I can already do all this. I was just a dancer for like my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted the meditation because I wanted to find out how to be calm and grounded. And I wanted the philosophy. I was thirsting for some type of like spiritual practice, with some structure. I needed guidance. I was 21 and I was all over the place.
Yes.
So, anyways, the class I found was at my university. I was getting a bachelor's in psychology, and I started a yoga class that was my last semester, the last class I needed. It was like a 2 credit yoga class 3 times a week. It was great because while we did have the asana, we also had the philosophy because it was an academic class. So we had the
Mm-hmm.
philosophy and we had all the breathing and the meditation. And I started to feel so good, better in my mind, body, heart, and soul than I've ever
Mm-hmm.
felt. And I was like, this is healing. And I planned on going to get a graduate degree so I could become a therapist. And I ended up in this yoga teacher training. This is in like 2006. And I just felt like, I'm not going to be the type of therapist that sits you on a couch and talks to you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do some of that, but I want to integrate yoga into the therapy that we do too. So at that point, I knew I wanted to integrate yoga and therapy.
Mm.
Um, and so as I was in grad school to be a therapist, I learned more about trauma. It became my field of interest. I started to finally understand that some of what I had been through was trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to, heal some more, having that understanding. And already being a yoga teacher and teaching yoga so much and then becoming a trauma therapist, I actually had colleagues asking me to bring yoga into therapy settings, like to train their faculty. Or I had yoga teacher friends who wanted me to come do a workshop on trauma for their yoga teacher training. So it's kind of like people were asking me to do this, and I found a gift within it, and I found like, okay, I'm actually, being of great service here. And like you
Mm-hmm.
said, being of service in this way, I feel really good. It's also healing to me.
Right.
Um, and I'll just add this one part because I know I've been rambling, but
No, no, no. This is a good story. I'm loving this because I knew
okay.
some, like you did with me, but I didn't know all of this.
I know we're like relearning or continuing to learn about one another.
Right.
Um, yeah, so it just continued to evolve, and I continued to study yoga specifically as it supports trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And then I developed the trauma conscious yoga method, which is basically it's nothing totally new. It's me taking everything that I've learned over the years as both a yoga teacher and a somatic trauma therapist and integrating all of it,
Mm.
seeing what has worked with my clients in private practice.
Mm-hmm.
It's become this healing modality that integrates yoga and somatic, or body-based therapy. And I lead trainings for other therapists and yoga teachers to come and get certified. And I
Mm-hmm.
provide classes for survivors, and it's become my dharma, my soul's purpose, or rather, I don't think it's become, I think it always was, but I
It
have
always
I have
was.
found it, it's found me. So
Yeah.
how it got
And now here
started.
we are doing healing circles at the full moon.
Yeah.
And just a
Yeah.
little fun fact. We later on, after we had become friends, we later on discovered that you actually trained my therapist. Remember?
I had forgotten that. And then you mentioned it maybe in another Instagram live or something. I don't remember, but I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that warms my heart
Mm-hmm.
so much. It's
We were
like,
going to connect either way somehow.
right. And we're all connected. Like you said, we're all connected. It's like those degrees of separation. What is
Mm-hmm.
it? They say 6 degrees of separation. I forget, but
Yes.
or less than that, right? But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, when you're destined to meet someone, you meet
Yep.
them. Yeah.
Yep. So, oh, yay. Nice to meet you, Nityda.
Nice to meet you, Jeff. I know we're always experiencing that rebirth, and so yeah, say it's nice to meet you.
I don't know what happened, but yeah, go ahead. I'm
Uh-oh.
sorry.
Okay. Oh no, I'm just over here, girl. I'm just over here rambling. Well, what else? What else? Should we wrap it up here?
Yeah, I guess we could. We're right at the 30-minute mark that we said.
Okay. All right,
So,
cool. Well, we hope, that this was helpful just to get a chance to get to know us a bit more. I think it's nice to know the
mhm,
people who are guiding you through an experience, especially when it does have to do with trauma and healing. I hope
mhm,
that maybe some of you saw some of yourselves in our stories and felt seen and validated.
mhm.
But, this all continues on Monday at
Yay.
our next full moon circle. It's a very special full moon. I'm excited to hear more about this particular full moon on Monday night from Jazz. We're going to move our bodies, we're going to meditate, we're going to journal and reflect, we're going to set intentions, we're going to
Yes.
listen to some good music, we're going to look
Yes.
at the moon.
And release.
So come be with us and release.
Yes.
Yeah, release what is no longer relevant or serving us.
Yes.
Thank you. You're
Yes.
welcome. Thanks for coming.
Oh,
And what else?
yeah.
So the links to sign up are in our bio, and
Yes.
I've gotten some emails about this. So yeah, if you want to come but you can't join live, you can still sign up because immediately after the event, I send you a link to the recording.
Mhm.
So definitely still come. Um, tell them a bit, Jazz, maybe real quick. The power of the moon is
Oh,
continues to permeate
yes.
beyond the moon itself, beyond
Yes.
that
So
date.
the energy for the full moon, it begins, you can start kind of feeling that as early as 3 days before and 3 days after. So we're going
Hmm.
to start feeling this probably as early as this evening, tonight, leading up until Monday, and then 3 days after Monday.
Hmm.
So starting now to about maybe next week, Wednesday, we're going to start feeling this. And being that it's so potent because it's in the sign of Scorpio, and this moon, full moons are about releasing. And this is a moon in the sign of release, regeneration.
Mm.
So there's going to be something that dies away that does not need to come back. And there's going to be something that is reborn that needed to come back, but it's going to come back in a different way than what it was. So we're
Mm.
gonna dive more into it once we get there. We've got some juicy stuff to talk about. So yeah, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now, we can see because not
Mm.
only do we have this full moon in Scorpio, we have Pluto, which is in Capricorn, and Pluto rules Scorpio, and Capricorn rules structures and
Yeah.
deep-rooted fears, and all of these different things that we are seeing play out in life right now, in the society, in the world, in the media. So we see all these things being transformed and released and just dying away, old structures that no longer serve any of us. So
Hmm.
we're gonna dive deep into it, and I'm excited
I'm
about it.
excited too. I'm
I
so
got some
excited.
journal prompts.
Those are always the best. Okay, well, thank you, Jazz. And again, everyone, take care of yourselves. There's a lot going on.
Hmm.
I understand if you want to watch the news, but take some breaks.
Yes.
Scrolling on social media right now, you're bound to see some things. We can just experience vicarious trauma in so many
Hmm.
ways right now. So take some time away from your device, drink some water, move your
Hmm.
body, breathe, rest. Love you, and hope to see you
Yes.
Monday night.
Love you
Thanks,
all.
Jazz.
Bye.
Bye.